We're going to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting was advertised in the Asbury Park Press on January 9th, 2026, and in the Beacon on January 22nd, 2026, and by posting the notice in the Forked River Post Office, Lenoka Harbor Post Office, district website, and by filing a copy of the notice with the Lacey Township Clerk as requested by the Open Public Meeting Act. Can I have roll call, please?
Mrs. Opitz.
Here.
Mr. Hurley.
Here.
Dr. Forney.
Here.
Mr. Amato.
Here.
Mr. Bell.
Here.
Mr. Goen.
Here.
And Ms. Klaus.
Here. Before we get started, I'd just like to make a quick statement. Good evening. On behalf of the Board of Education, I want to formally recognize and commend the exceptional response of our local law enforcement, dedicated staff, and our school safety and security team regarding today's school events. We talk a lot about safety plans at our meetings, but seeing those plans come to life so flawlessly is something else entirely. In moments of potential crisis, the distance between safety and tragedy is measured in seconds. The immediate and coordinated action demonstrated by our officers, our Lacey staff members, and security personnel showed how great our teams work together. Their ability to execute established safety protocols with such precision ensured that our students and staff remained protected and informed throughout the duration of the situation. To our Lacey Police Department, we are profoundly grateful for your partnership and your unwavering commitment to our schools. To our internal security team, your vigilance is the backbone of our daily operations, and your performance today has earned the highest respect of the board. We often speak by our commitment to safety-first environment. Today, we saw exactly what that commitment looks like. I would like to thank everyone again for your dedication to the children of this district. Okay, now we are going to move on to the report of the superintendent.
Right, and I'm going to expand on that a little bit too. Thank you for those comments, President Claus. I'd like to take a moment to address the safety incident that did occur this morning at all of our schools. At approximately 7:30 a.m., we were notified by the Lacey Township Police Department of a report involving suspicious activities in the vicinity of Lacey Township High School. Immediately upon receiving this information, we implemented a secure protocol across the district as a precautionary measure while law enforcement investigated. In close and ongoing communication with the Lacey Township Police Department, it was quickly determined that the reported threat was not credible and was specific only to the high school area. Based on that guidance, we made the decision to continue student arrival procedures. It is important to emphasize that allowing students to enter the buildings was a deliberate safety decision. We recognize that many students were already at bus stops throughout the community, and we always believe it's safer to bring students into our buildings where there's a strong and visible police presence rather than leave them waiting outside. Okay, and that's really an important point here. All right, we don't want to leave them stranded at bus stops. Okay, we are, with our Lacey Township Police Department partners, we are the safest place. Okay, and getting them in quickly, getting them in smoothly, and without any panic. Situations like this require rapid decision-making under evolving conditions. Every decision made this morning was done in real time, in collaboration with law enforcement, and with the primary goal of ensuring the safety and well-being of our students and staff. I want to thank the Lacey Township Police Department as well for their immediate response and partnership, as well as our administrators, staff, and transportation team for their professionalism and coordination during the situation. My team is awesome, I have to tell you. Okay, we have trained, we have worked, we have met, okay, we do what we can. All right, the safety of our students will always remain our highest priority, and we continue to work closely with our local law enforcement partners to ensure we are prepared to effectively respond to these situations. And again, thank you. And we had other law enforcement here as well. We had sheriffs here. I think we had Berkeley Township here. So I'd like to thank them as well. But we had a pretty wide situation. I know some parents were a little bit concerned at seeing our presence, but that's very strategic and it's very purposeful, where our police officers work hand in hand with us. So that's the commentary I wanted there. So thank you. On to the business of the day. Okay, we are gathered here this evening, okay, for the final adoption of the budget. I want to reaffirm that the document that's before the Board of Education is the culmination of a rigorous, student-centered planning process. Our mission has remained steadfast throughout the cycle We want to protect the high-quality instructional programs and services that define the Lacey Township School District, while we're navigating a challenging financial landscape. Okay, this is marked by a $6.2 million increase in operating costs and a reduction in federal funding. Okay, all that is real-time stuff. We have crafted a balanced approach that prioritizes our classrooms. We have moved aggressively to manage our long-term liabilities, which has allowed us to achieve a 29% decrease in debt service just this year alone. To sustain our core educational offerings, this budget includes a 5.87% tax levy increase, which translates to an estimated impact of approximately $24 a month for the average homeowner. These are difficult fiscal choices, but they are necessary ones. This budget represents a responsible path forward, ensuring that despite external financial pressures, which are not getting better, the quality of education for our students remains our highest priority. I also want to address the health benefits, which we're going to have a slide on as well. I have some slides. Okay? Regarding the specific pressures of our health benefits, the disparity in costs is putting an immense and unsustainable strain on our local resources. When we look at our enrollment, the vast majority of our staff members have moved to newer Aetna and Horizon educator health plans, and we have a legacy group that remains in some older plans. All right, to put this in perspective, a family plan under the new educator tier costs the district roughly $63,690, where the same coverage under a legacy plan is higher at about $84,000. Altogether, the district spends $20.4 million annually on health benefits. Employee contributions are about $1.8 million of that. Okay, local taxpayers shoulder $18.6 million. Okay, this burden has become increasingly heavy, and the New Jersey School Employees Health Benefits Program is facing a structural crisis. It was constructed years ago to save districts money. Now it's costing districts money. It's not our fault. It's not the town's fault. It's not a budgetary fault. Okay, the educators' health plan was designed for educators and is failing them. And the state currently is doing nothing about it. It's a problem. Okay, while the private sector typically sees an annual cost increase of 5 to 7%, the state plan shocked districts this year with a 30% increase for just this year alone, with projections of another jump of 30 to 45% next year if they don't do something about it. Those are the predictions. One of the primary drivers of this spike is the surge in prescriptions of GLP-1 medications, Ozempic, Wegovy, you've heard of all the commercials, okay, which saw spending increases of over 100% in one single year. Huge drivers of what's going on. These pharmacy costs are rising significantly faster than typical medical costs. Furthermore, the state plan is struggling with adverse selection. Under recent legislation, many healthier or wealthier districts have realized they can find cheaper insurance on the private market and are choosing to exit the state pool. As these lower risk groups leave, the remaining pool of participants becomes older and requires more medical care, okay, which in turn drives premiums higher and encourages more districts to depart. We are currently looking to get out. Okay, we're working very hard on that. Okay, historically the state mandated a claim stabilization fund to help absorb these types of price shocks, but years of high claims have effectively depleted those reserves. This leaves the state with no choice but to pass the full, unmitigated cost of medical inflation directly onto school districts and their employees, creating this ridiculous financial reality. As we go through the slides, we roughly could have stayed within the 2% cap this year if it wasn't for state health benefit increases, okay, which the state promised us when they formed this many years ago. This wouldn't happen, and it is happening. Okay, welcome to New Jersey in some cases, right? All right, so let's look at the slides. Tom, you can help us here? All right, you've seen many of these slides before. I think many of you have attended these budget presentations. All right, but we do always from, I'm preaching like Pat DeGeorge did, tentative to final. There are some tweaks and some changes, but we have not changed the tax rate that we put out originally. We have remained within that, even though we're required to make adjustments by the state, by our executive county school business official. Okay, all of those tweaks, we were able to tweak the budget where it's not going to be any increase other than what we talked about originally. So again, okay, this budget represents no reductions in core programs, the instructional staff, instructional programs, transportation, and co-curricular opportunities. Next, Tom. Okay, we've seen this slide before. We are saddled with these increases. Okay, when you talk about the health and prescription benefits, which we already spoke about, natural gas and electric, which actually may jump again July 1, based on, well, if the governor reverses her freeze. Insurance and property and casualty, we've talked about that. All of our own homeowners seems to go up every year as well. Tom? That requires us to balance this budget, required reductions. Okay, we couldn't balance the budget with those types of pressures. Okay, so those are the reductions. This slide has not changed from our 2 previous presentations. Okay, the full-time paraprofessionals, the full-time health aides, administrative staff salaries, out-of-district tuitions, which is a risk. Okay, if we get one student moving into the district, that comes to us out of district, we have to pay for out of district. So we're risking ourselves a little bit there. Transportation, fuel, and supplies. That's, again, another risk, looking at fuel prices. Okay, we don't buy our fuel in the open market, we buy it as part of a consortium, so we pay a little bit less. Maintenance supplies, technology reductions, which is largely our Chromebooks, athletic and co-curricular supplies, and instructional supplies, which is mostly paper. We are very, very efficient on not using paper. Okay, all of our stuff is electronic, we're using less and less paper every day. We've done a very good job of that. Next, Tom. Here's the update, tentative to final. Okay, these are some of the adjustments that we made. The tax levy, however, I want to remind everybody, is going to remain unchanged. Okay, there's no additional impact in what I presented originally, although we've tweaked the numbers. You will see capital reserve activity. Okay, we finally are ready to do the high school roof. We've been saving for years in capital reserve. Half the roof we're paying for in full and not bonding. Okay, through a ROD grant, the state is providing us with 40% of the high school roof, which is half the roof. The other half of the roof is part of our referendum. We're transferring that money over into general fund, okay, with anticipated $10,000 in interest. That has to be reflected in your final budget. So that is reflected now in the budget. There's certain revenue adjustments. PEA adjustments had to happen. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but the line item of $2.306 million had to be moved into a certain category. But that increase also ups our amount that we contribute, because we still have to pay for our special education students by the amount of $45,279. So we move that money over as well, okay, into the PEA budget. Okay, so these adjustments reflect the updated revenues and funding alignment, but the overall fiscal stability is maintained at no change into the original burden that we're putting on the taxpayers. Tom? The next 2 slides highlight, and I'll post these for the general public. These next 2 slides highlight next year's July 1 membership in health plans to somewhat drive the point home, I guess you could say I'm doing here. Okay, so I've outlined 2 different slides. The majority of our staff who are eligible, who take health benefits, we have about 100 that waive, okay, their benefits packages because they probably have a spouse, they probably have a significant other who takes benefits. So roughly, we have about 500 eligible people, and these are the people that take benefits through their employer, which is us, okay, Lacey Township School District. So we have 347 that are in the educator health plans. Okay, and you can see the monthly rate is the medical/RX, the number enrolled, total annual cost, and average cost to district on the right side for each of those plans. Single, parent, there's 4 types. Single, parent, child, husband, wife, and family. Family is husband, wife, and 1 child or 4 children. It's the same rate, okay? So those are the number there. Okay, 347 individuals are involved. I'll call these the newer plans, okay, for our staff. Okay, these plans and the plans I'm going to show you in a minute, staff contributes $1.8 million out of their paychecks for these plans, and I have that on the next slide as a highlight in the bottom. Okay, the legacy plans, these would be employees who were employed, I believe, before 2015 were eligible for these plans. I've been here longer than that. I segued into the newer plans. Okay, it just worked for my family. For other individuals, it's all personal decisions. Okay, but these legacy plans exist in all aspects of state employment. And we can talk about it in a minute too. The state has just recently canceled these plans for state employees who work in Trenton and Rutgers and a couple of the colleges. Okay, so we don't know exactly what's happening with these plans. Okay, so there's 46 individuals in these, what we call legacy plans, okay, and you can see the cost there, okay, they are significantly higher than the newer plans, we'll call it, than the state plan. Yeah, okay? You know, health benefits are a large portion, so you have, those are the numbers that you have there. And again, I'm gonna post this, okay? So that's what the numbers look like. All right, next, Tom? All right, final budget. Okay, you've seen these slides before. I try my best to be the BA here, okay? I like to try my best. So you see the operating budget increases over last year. Remember that it says revised, because as you go through the entire year, you make sure that everything gets trued up in the numbers, because you don't know exactly how much money comes in, how much money goes out. It's always within very close numbers. That's why it says revised there, if anybody questions it. Okay, so you have final and revised from last year, just to give you that, to give you what it looks like here. Okay, so the operating budget, the grants and entitlement, the debt service, in parentheses means it's gone down. Keep that in mind. Okay, and then the total numbers on the bottom. Okay, so this is our operating budget and those different items there. Next, Tom. Did I do Tom? Oh. Oh, it does stuff on the bottom. So the repayment of the outstanding debt continues to decrease. Next one. Okay, property tax levy. Okay, the operating budget, the debt service tax levy, okay, the total property tax levy, and then the net increase. Okay, 5.87%. Okay, that includes the 2% rise plus the health benefit waiver. Gets us up to 5.87%. Okay, like I said before, we probably would have been, with this current budget that we've crafted, in the 2% range if it wasn't for the health benefit increases mandated by the state system, which we kind of highlighted earlier. Tom? And then total revenues. Okay, this includes everything on the revenue side, between the property tax levy, state aids, extraordinary aids, grants and entitlements. Okay, again, in parentheses means it's gone down. Okay, and then you have the totals there. I think there's one more slide, Tom? And then the average homeowner bill. Okay, the average home in Lacey in 1 year has gone from $288,906 to $290,668. And I know many of us sit in the room, we go, my house is valued more than that on assessment, so you'll have to gauge that for how much your taxes would go up. Okay, so the tax bill goes from $4,766 to $5,055. Just as by comparison, I know it's not a direct comparison because I just read it today, because I'm always interested in what's going on in our governor's district, which is Montclair. The average tax bill on the average home in Montclair for schools only is $15,000. Right? I was astounded at that number. Astounded. Okay? It shows our efficiencies. They're a bigger district, don't get me wrong. But I think it really highlights the efficiencies that we're able to achieve down here. Okay, with the average bill being $5,000. That's our average bill. So there's obviously houses more and less in Montclair. Tom? And that's it. So I'll put it on the website. Okay.
Does the board have any questions before we move on to public comment about the budget? No?
Nope.
Okay, we're going to move on. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now opening the, this portion of the meeting accordance to New Jersey Open Public Act. This is an opportunity for members of the public to make comments to the board. Please note that this period is reserved for comments only. The board will not be responding to questions or engaging in dialogue. The board's role is that of a policy-making body. Operational and administrative matters should be addressed through the appropriate chain of command, beginning with the staff member or administrator most directly involved. All speakers are expected to present their remarks in a respectful, civil manner. Rude or harassing will not be permitted. Please understand that defamatory remarks may create personal liability for the speaker and potential legal exposure for the board. In addition, to protect the privacy rights of students and employees, the board will not entertain discussion regarding specific student or personnel matters. We thank you for your cooperation in helping us maintain an orderly and respectful meeting. An audience member wishing to make a comment will raise his or her hand when called upon, state their name, address, or affiliation, and intention to make a statement. Comments will be addressed to the board president. Comments will be limited to 6 minutes. No persons shall speak more than once. This portion of the meeting is for public comments only. There will be no questions answered. The purpose of this board meeting is to perform our business in public. Everyone is entitled to a public comment. If there's a question for the board, there's an established chain of command to follow. Would anybody like to have a public comment tonight? Regina, you can start.
Regina DeSenza, Sunset Drive, Sunrise Beach. The budget scenario that was presented tonight is both difficult and pitiful for the taxpayers to endure. And I think more should have been done to save a few jobs, especially your betrayal of certain longtime employees. I do have a question, I don't know if you'll answer it, but next Wednesday, May 13th, was supposed to be coffee and conversation with the superintendent. Is that still on? Where and when?
I'll put a flyer out.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's 5 o'clock?
I'll get a flyer out tomorrow.
Which school?
Same place, Mill Pond.
Mill
Yeah,
Pond, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anybody else like to have a public comment? No? Okay, I'll close public comment. Do you have anything else to add?
I do not.
Okay, board
you.
comments, and we'll start with Brandon. Do you have anything? No? Sal, anything?
Just a few things.
Sure.
This morning, I got a phone call from my wife, and she asked me what's going on at the high school. Then President Klaus called me and gave me an update. And then later this afternoon, I had a curriculum meeting where I had the pleasure of sitting with that curriculum team and listening to Mr. Zelinski explain what happened today. And I'm very pleased with the action he took on the fly. I know that some people were a little nervous about the decisions he made, but when he explained it to me and he explained it to the rest of the people in that room, we were very confident that he took the safety of our students, our staff, our faculty, everybody into consideration and made the right move. And so I wanted to congratulate you along with all the other guys who are getting
It's a team,
congratulations
yeah.
today.
Team
So
effort.
well done on making those
Thank you.
decisions on the fly. I also want to explain my vote tonight because I believe our community deserves clarity when it comes to decisions that impact their wallets and our students. Over the past 3 years, our community has seen a significant tax increases, approaching 27%. This isn't abstract to me. I'm feeling it at home, and I know many families in the community are as well. I support our staff. I'm not against fair compensation, but this vote is about priorities and outcomes. Here are the facts as I see them. We are approving a budget that raises taxes again. We are reducing support in areas that directly impact students, including paraprofessionals. We are not meaningfully advancing curriculum in a way that shows measurable improvement for our students. And at the same time, we're making financial commitments at the administrative level. What I struggle with most is this: how do we raise taxes and turn around and reduce positions that directly support our students? This disconnect is hard to justify. If we're asking more from our taxpayers, there needs to be a clear return on that investment, something our students, our staff, and our community can point and say, this made a difference. Right now, I don't see that return in a way that is measurable or meaningful for our students. I also believe we need greater transparency on how we arrived at these numbers, not just for the public, but so that every member of this board has a clear understanding of what is driving these increases and what outcomes we expect in return. I also want to acknowledge that we did review this budget in public. We also reviewed this budget in public, and I appreciate the input that was shared around how funds are being allocated. At the same time, I don't believe that process went far enough. It didn't feel like we were fully explored alternative approaches or challenged ourselves to find ways to balance the budget without relying on additional tax increases. And when we're making decisions of this magnitude, it is critical that we have full participation and engagement from the board so that every perspective is considered before we ask more from our taxpayers. This is not about being against our staff or against our students. It's about making sure that when we ask for more, we can clearly demonstrate why it matters to those who benefit. I want to support a budget where that connection is clear. Tonight, I cannot confidently make that connection. If we're asking for our community to pay more, we owe them clear proof that it's making a real difference for our students. Thank you.
Dan, is there anything you like? No? Okay. Karen?
Okay, yes, so, as a new board member, this was really difficult for me because it's the first time I'm approving a budget, and that increase in the health insurance of the $4 million was a lot to understand. Like, the health insurance is 20% of the entire budget. So it just breaks my heart that First, that we have to let go of the full-time, paraprofessionals and the health aides, but that 4 million could have went to keep those people and also add teachers for the kids that have smaller class sizes. So that was really difficult for me to get through it, and I went through the budget for hours, for several days, and asked a lot of questions. So I just want to recognize the paraprofessionals and the health aides, and thank you for everything. And also during Teacher Appreciation Week this week, I'd like to thank all of the teachers and staff. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Megan, is there anything? No? Okay, Steve?
No comment, thanks.
Okay. Just a quick comment. The paras are near and dear to my heart. I know some personally for many years. We did have a budget workshop, and the board did come up with a list if we were to get more money. The paras were on the list, as well as more staff, curriculum, so we'll see, hopefully. But I'm sorry about tonight. I know where this is going, and I do feel for you all, okay? All right, we are now going to move on to the adoption of the 2026-27 school budget year. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any additional discussion? Can I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Opitz,
Yes.
Mr. Hurley,
Yes.
Dr. Forney,
Yes.
Mr. Amato,
No.
Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Goen,
Yes.
Mrs. Klaus.
Yes. Okay, that concludes our meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.